decision. But if someone asks you what are the primary or major decision that a financial manager need to make, then you will say investment decision, financing decision, and dividend decision. These are the three primary function that or primary decision that financial manager need to take. And working capital management decision, I want to explain it just to give you a brief idea. Okay, so here actually under this decision, the short-term decision came normally. So working capital management decision, nothing. It's just decide how the company actually operate a day-to-day basis. I mean, how much cash they need to hold for to maintain their liquidity issue. I mean, to pay their current obligation, how much inventory they need to hold, how much cash receivable they have. All of that actually come under working capital management decision. I already explained this
Ma'am,
in. Yes.
ma'am, is it part of function of finance manager?
Yes, of course, it's part of function of finance manager. But when the question is, what are the major three decisions that a financial manager need to make, then you only say investment, financing, and dividend. And if the question is something like that, what are the financial management decision, or what's role a financial manager play, then you can mention all of this.
Ma'am, if said major, then we explain three.
Sometimes what happened in your question, sometimes actually you can see that they will ask only for three decision, then you can say those three.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you go back to the last slide, please?
This one.
Yeah. Can you explain to me the stability of dividend?
Dividend. Oh, could you please repeat your question?
Can you explain the stability of dividend?
Oh, okay. Stability of dividend. Actually, maintain a stability in dividend is very important for any corporation, because when for example, I'm buying a share of a company, I expect dividend from them, right? Because they promise me to pay that. But if, for example, they make loss, so suppose they decide, okay, we make loss this year, so we cannot, or we don't want to maintain the stability of dividend, then what happened, as a shareholder, I will get a signal that the company is not performing well. So it's not very healthy decision for a company. That's why the company need to, or a financial manager need to consider this factor. I mean, as this is very crucial that they maintain the stability of paying dividend. And if, for example, if they make loss, how they can pay dividend? They can pay dividend from retained earning as well, because that's why they hold that amount last year, to make some, if there is some good opportunity come, they will invest there. That's the main motto. But when there is a crisis in the company like this, that they cannot as from a normal profit, they cannot provide dividend, so then they can use that fund as well. Now you understand what is stability of dividend.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, last class I actually just started to explain this, but let's start from the beginning of this concept so that you have a clear understanding. And please, you can interrupt me anywhere if you don't understand anything. Okay. So agency problem and agency cost, basically in a very simpler definition, agency problem is the conflict of interest between principal and agent. Now you have to understand that what actually I'm saying here. Who are the principal, who are the agent? If you don't know that, then it doesn't matter for you what is the conflict is, right? So you have to understand first who are the principal, who are the agent, then only you will relate the conflict that they are facing. You'll relate with that. So this is the agency problem, conflict of interest between principal and agent, and I'm going to explain everything What is the conflict? Who are the principal? Who are the agent? So no worries. And the agency cost is actually cost to mitigate agency problem, means that cost a company must or need to bear to reduce the agency problem. Uh, I think one of you just turn on your microphone. Do you want to say anything there?
No, ma'am, it was just a mistake.
Uh, okay, thank you. So allow me to give you a simple example so that you understand. I was trying to give you this one last class, but uh, we couldn't complete this one due to time. So, for example, the same example like last class, what I was using. You have a car. You want to sell that car. So who are you now? You are the car owner, right? So you want to sell that car. You don't have proper knowledge how you can sell that car in the second hand market. So what you do, you hire a person who have better understanding regarding selling car in the second hand market. So that person actually we call agent. Means you as the owner, you cannot sell your car directly because you don't know, actually you don't know how to sell the car, or uh, where you need to go to sell the car, or there are several other information that you don't have regarding selling the car in the second hand market. So what you do, you hire a person for a fixed sum of money who actually have experience or better understanding regarding selling car in the second hand market. So here, who is the principal, who is the agent? The car owner is the principal. The agent, of course, the agent or the manager that you hire to do your business or do your work is the agent. So who is the principal, who is the agent here? The car owner is the principal. The this person is the agent. Okay, so you tell him, okay, see, I cannot sell my car by myself, so if you can manage to sell my car, I will give you say 1,000 taka for this. Okay, so now you can see the car owner is agreed to give the agent 1,000 taka if he can just sell the car for him, because he cannot do that by himself. Now, what is the issue here? As a car owner, I know if you, for example, just assume that if you want to sell your car, of course, always you want to get the maximum value of selling the car, right? But what actually the agent is thinking, he's thinking that if he just can manage to sell the car, he will get that 1,000 taka from the car owner. So you can see there are a clear conflict of interest. No matter how much time it takes, but the car owner actually wants a maximum value of car, but the agent actually just want to sell that car for the fixed amount of money, the 1,000 taka. You can see a conflict of interest here. The conflict
Yes,
of
ma'am.
thank you, dear. So we can see the conflict of interest between car owner is the principal and between the principal and agent. If there is a conflict of interest between principal and agent, that is we call agency problem. Now, this is agency problem. Is it that difficult to understand?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So this is agency problem. Now, what is agency cost? Of course, this example I'm sharing with you, I will relate this example with finance perspective, so no worries. What is agency cost then? The agency cost that, for example, the same car owner said the agent that because he get that sense that maybe the agent is not working considering his interest, I mean the principal interest. So the car owner tell the agent that, okay, I think we can I think we can have a new arrangement here. I mean that why don't you dig a little bit deeper? I mean, why don't you take uh, take some time and just try to sell my car with its maximum price and give me the maximum value of selling my car. I will give you another 500 taka for that. Okay, say for example car owner is saying that, or the car owner is saying that I'll give you 0.5% amount of money, whatever you can, whatever you can manage, or I'll give you 0.5% money from the value of selling my car if you can manage to sell my car, and if you can arrange maximum value of selling my car, then I will give you another this amount. Okay, for example. So now what the agent will think, that maybe the agent will get more motivation to work a little bit harder and maybe do a little bit more calls or a little bit more research to sell the car and get the maximum value that is possible for the car owner, because here there is also this is for his interest as well, because if the agent can manage to do that, he will get that another 500 taka, or for example he will get a percentage of the value for which will actually get from car selling. Okay, so that extra 500 taka actually a cost of the car owner, isn't it? The car owner need to pay that extra 500 taka to motivate the agent to work for his interest. So that extra 500 taka is as a cost of the car owner, cost of a principal. So that is agency cost, the cost that car owner actually bearing to minimize the conflict between the principal, I mean the car owner, and the agent. Do you understand now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any confusion?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, No, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, my microphone doesn't work properly. That's why I didn't respond.
No problem. Is it working now?
Yes, ma'am. But sometime it get some problem, ma'am.
Okay. So do you understand the concept of agency problem and agency cost?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anyone who still have issue with understanding this concept?
ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, provide $5 for agency interest. Is it the agency cost?
So in a very simpler way there, whatever cost a car owner need to bear to reduce the agency problem is agency cost. If that is $5, then $5 is the agency cost.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Is there any other question uh, I need to address? Okay, then let me ask you a little bit. So the example that I just shared with all of you, who is the principal here?
Car owner.
Normal.
Car owner.
Thank you, dear. Yes, car owner, right? So now if we think about a finance perspective, I mean about a corporation, then who are the principal? Who are the owner of the company?
Board of director,
Who are the board of director, Pranto?
shareholder,
Absolutely, that's the answer I want to hear. Sorry, can you give me one moment, please?
sure, ma'am.
Pardon me, because of the cold, I'm facing so much difficulties. Sorry. So, who could be the agent for a corporation? Do you have any idea?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Modi. We can actually, Modi, we can easily relate that. What example that I just showed to you, that a car owner who doesn't know how to sell his car, that's why he hire a agent, right? Normally, what happened in a big corporation, the shareholder basically the owner of the company, of course board of director are also the shareholder of the company. Now all the shareholder actually elected the board of director to represent their interest. So the same thing, but when someone asks you who are the principal of the company, you don't say board of director, is a shareholder. The next thing, who are the agent of the company. So when we are talking about running a company, of course the shareholder, they don't have proper, maybe they don't have proper understanding how to run the company. That's why actually they hire the management team, isn't it? Because they don't run the company by themselves, they always hire a management team to run the company and to maintain their interest. Am I correct or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
So if you relate the finance perspective or the finance corporation situation with the basic example that I just shared, it's very easy to understand that the shareholder are the principal of the company because they are the owner of the company. Or who could be the agent? The management team, because the owner hire the management for a fixed amount of money, for example, to run the business and to maintain their interest. But sometimes what happened, like the conflict of interest here, the owner, of course, the owner always want the management take those only those action which can actually maximize the owner interest. But sometimes what happened, the management don't consider that, because they, for example, what happened if the goal will be profit maximization. That's why actually we cannot have a goal profit maximization. I already explained this, because for profit maximization they can make some decision which actually not going to be beneficial for the company but for themselves. For example, a management team takes such a decision which actually maybe they are offering the management or the CEO that if you can invest here, we'll provide you a vacation in abroad, free vacation for you and your family, if you can manage to invest here in our company, then we will provide you that facility. Then what happened, that maybe the CEO or the management committee, they think that this offer is so lucrative, so we cannot just ignore it. So is that decision they're making, is that for the shareholder benefit? No, it's therefore their for their own benefit. They want to go abroad, they want to chill a little bit, so it's their own benefit. So sometimes they take that that types of decision which will not, at the end of the day, which will not give any benefit to the shareholder. So here we can see also there is a conflict of interest between the shareholder and the agent. Let me share my slide again so that we can see how we can relate this with. Sorry. So the same example we'll use, but in a little bit different way. So the owner, like the car owner in our previous example, the owner of the company or shareholder, we call also principal or owner. They hire a agent or manager or management team to run their corporation. And of course for a fixed sum of money. And now what the shareholder want? Shareholder just want to maximize their shareholder value. This is for their interest. But sometimes the manager or management, they act for their own benefit. They take those decisions which will gonna benefit them, whether it's at the end of the day, whether it's maximizing the shareholder value or not. They take those decisions which ultimately benefit them actually. So here you can see a conflict of interest between the shareholder and the agent. Okay, that is the agency problem for a corporation. So what is that? The conflict of interest between the principal and the agent is the agency problem. Now, is it too difficult to recall or understand if I ask you what is agency problem?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, here manager work under the corporation or manager has a own corporation or own entity, ma'am.
Manager are the employee there. Board of director, they hire the management team or to run their business actually. So they are not the owner of the company. They only just work for the owner.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. So when you see there, you just 1 minute. I think I got a message.
Ma'am, may I ask a question?
Yeah, Lamia, please go on.
Ma'am, then um, you told us about brokerage firm. So at first I thought that brokerage firms are the agent of agency. I mean, if the brokerage firm are not the agent, then who are they for a corporation?
I couldn't understand your question properly, Lamia. Can you ask me again? Sorry.
ম্যাম আপনি ফার্স্ট ক্লাসে মেবি বলেছিলেন আমাদের ব্রোকারেজ ফার্ম সম্পর্কে যে যারা হচ্ছে শেয়ার গুলো সেল করে আই গেস তো আহ, ওরা যদি হচ্ছে আমি ফার্স্টে ভেবেছিলাম যে ওরা হচ্ছে এজেন্ট একটা কর্পোরেশনের জন্য, তো ওরা যদি এজেন্ট না হয়ে থাকে দেন মানে ওরা কারা?
No, you want to know who are the who? I mean, what is the concept of brokerage firm, or actually who are the agent of a corporation? Normally, agent like for a corporation agent or the agent that we are referring in agency problem, that is the management team.
ওকে ম্যাম।
Okay, Lamia.
Ma'am, is it like that when we like to fulfill our interest and we don't have that kind of knowledge and we hire someone, it can be management, it can be third party. So when we try to fulfill our own interest and for that we hire someone, that will be the agent.
Yeah, absolutely, Faisal.
Okay, ma'am.
It's like I'm so sorry. I'm having a little bit difficulty talking. That's why sometimes it's interrupting. Actually, I couldn't understand Lamia's question properly before. Because whenever it's between two party, if you are the owner and you hire someone to to do your job, maybe you can relate this with bank or somewhere else, or with the just simple example. Uh, the car owner example I shared with you, it's between two parties. If you are the owner, you hire someone to do your job, then he is the agent. But the theoretical perspective, when we are discussing the ideal theory, it's a corporation perspective. The I mean, if we're talking about the corporation perspective, the principal are the owner, shareholder, and agent are the manager. But anywhere in your life, you can relate with agency problem as well. Who is the owner? It's the conflict between the owner and the agent. The agent can be anyone as a owner who you will hire. Is that the answer of your question, Lamia?
Yes, ma'am. I was a little bit confused. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you, Faisal. So this is conflict of interest between shareholder and agent from a finance corporation perspective. This is agency problem. Okay, maybe some other perspective, the owner and the manager may be other person, but for a corporation perspective, this is the conflict of interest between the shareholder and the manager. Now, what could be the agency cost here? Do you have any idea? We know the cost that as a financial corporation, the cost that owner need to bear to mitigate agency problem, right? That is agency cost. So what type of cost maybe the owner need to bear? The cost that like I discussed with the previous example, maybe they can they can offer something more to the manager so that the manager get the motivation to work for the shareholder interest. Maybe the owner or board of director they decide to offer the employee a bonus share, something like that. So or maybe they offer a percentage of the ownership. If that they offer that as a compensation, then what will happen, the manager or agent will feel more motivated because there is interest that is for his interest too, to maximize shareholder value because he is also a shareholder of that company. Sometimes this could be a solution of agency cost, or there are some many other possible solution that I want you to go through from your book. Means they can provide several incentive to the management. They can for example, they can, I mean, the shareholder or board of director decide to provide performance bonus, then maybe several types of increment to the management team so that they feel motivated to work for the company benefit as well. So is it clear now? This is agency cost and agency problem. Is this concept clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So now I want to go through this concept, business ethics. It's a quickly I'll cover this concept because uh, I there are some other things that we need to go through, but I believe you understand the concept. What is ethics? Do you have any idea what is ethics actually? we
Um,
always we always say in your life, right? This is so unethical. Why you do that? Normally we face this. I believe we faced this sentence before. Didn't you had ethics word before?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Normally, why we say that? Because ethical means that whether it's you need to decide that whether you take the wrong path or right one. Okay, that is actually ethical, because ethical is, there is a basic difference between ethics and maintain law. Can anyone tell me what is that?
Ma'am, what is business ethics?
No, only ethics, not business ethics.
Ethics is basically the difference between good and bad.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Law, when we're talking about law, means there are some certain rules and that we need to follow according to according to law, right? But for ethics, actually, there is no rules here, right? You cannot just you cannot you cannot take ethics and you cannot frame it with some rules. But for law, we know this is lawful. This is not following the law. We know those. But ethics is actually, like you said, only what is wrong and what is right. That's ethics, and business ethics is very important to maintain because what happened, maybe in short term period it will not bring the profit for the company, but if you maintain business ethics as a corporation, then at the end of the day people will have more trust on your corporation and they want to actually invest here. And what actually business ethics represent, like from the picture itself you can say, uh, of course there are so many things that can include inside business ethics, but generally we said that whether you are making decision which is ethical or not, whether you are taking responsibility for your community or not, because don't follow if you do wrong or if you do bad things with your corporation, of course it's gonna harm the community as well. So you should be responsible as a corporation as well to then only we can say you're following business ethics. So as a human being, as a person, we need to follow some ethics to hold our mm, to hold our moral view, as well as for a business. Also, as a business corporation, you need to follow some ethics. Whenever you make decision, you need to consider that whether I'm taking ethical decision or not. So this is business ethics. It's not that difficult. All of the things that you can see in this picture, those actually things that represent business ethics. And a famous quote by Henry Ford that a business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. What that actually means that you only make profit, but you don't have any contribution to your community. The people don't actually trust your corporation. You don't have any morality, and all of that. Whenever you make decision, you don't consider anything except profit. Then actually, it's a very poor business. So that's business ethics. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So actually, what in this slide, why what we say that business ethics normally, whether actually it's profitable or not, you need to understand that whether you're following the ethics or not. But there are some executive, they already said that, or they showed that if as a corporation, if you maintain business ethics, actually there is a positive correlation between ethics and long run profitability as well. Means that sorry, if you maintain business ethics, at the end of the day your company will be profitable. So it's not like that if you're taking ethical decision that your company will make loss. It's not like that, because there is a positive correlation as well. Why is that? Because if you are taking decision which is ethical, what sometimes what happen, if you are taking some unethical decision, it's a it doesn't follow the law as well, then you need to pay some fines, legal expenses, you need to bear some cost as well. So if you follow business ethics, you don't need to bear those expenses, and of course when the cost is less, the profit will be higher. And you can build public trust. The people will trust your corporation, and they want to invest in your corporation as well. That means you can attract those who appreciate and support ethical policy. Okay, so ultimately what is happening here, if you follow the business ethics as a corporation, you can be profitable as well as you can gain the trust of people as well. So it's a gain and gain situation. Okay. And also when you are running your business following business ethics, your employee will also get motivated for for doing their job actually, because they feel like they are doing something for the community as well. So it's another important issue. And of course, you can support the economic viability where you are actually operating your business if you are taking decision following business ethics. So, what we actually learn from here, that if we take a decision following business ethics, it's not like that as a corporation we need to bear loss. It actually, there is a positive relation between ethics and long-term profitability as well. So maybe at short-term period it will cost you a little bit. For example, you are being corporate social responsible person, maybe those are maybe you need to be a little bit expense for following those ethical making those ethical decision for your company. But at the end of the day, after a long run, if you, because you are not running your company just for 1 or 2 years. When we are talking about a corporation, it's for long term, right? So at the end of the day or after a long term, for taking the ethical decision, of course that ethical decision gonna benefit your company as well. Okay, not only for gaining public trust, for as well as for having profitability. Are we clear until here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So another one is corporate governance. Before we are talking about ethics, there is no set of rules that we can follow if we are saying that as a corporation we are maintaining business ethics. There are no set of rules for that. But corporate governance, actually there is a set of rules to follow. That is actually corporate governance. Those are regarding several issues like legal and regulatory framework, about everything, the policy that your corporation is taking. Those, there are a set of rules that a corporation need to follow when they are running their business. Those rules actually we call corporate governance, that is set by the board of director of the corporation. This is very easy, there is nothing difficult here. You just need to have a basic understanding regarding this concept. And what you can do, pick this topic and please study from your book as well. I'm not saying you'll find so much more information there, but after understanding the concept here, if you go through it, the book, it will be good for you to to remember that concept for a long term. Okay. So stakeholders, do you know who are the stakeholders of the company?
Board of
Well,
directors.
Uba just share.
Um, I'm saying stakeholder, not stockholder. Okay. So, do you have any idea who could be the stakeholder of the company? Normally, who are
Supplier, employee, ma'am.
why employee, Idra?
They are the part of the company. So
They have an interest in the company, right?
yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Idra. So, when we are talking about stockholder, means we are talking about stockholder. Who are the stockholder?
Who have buy the share.
The stockholder are the shareholder of the company. But when we are talking about stakeholder can be anyone who have a interest inside the company. It could be the employee, it could be someone who is related to the company, it could be some beneficial person who have some some interest or who get some benefit from the company. So it could be anyone who have an interest in the company. So any person, the manager, employees, customer, suppliers, creditor, stockholder, and of course other parties. Other parties means whoever who have an interest inside the company, they could be stakeholders. It's not that difficult. And just don't confuse between stakeholders and stockholders. That's it. Okay, so there's a new concept that I want to introduce today, which is time value of money. Do you have any understanding what is time value of money? I think who came from commerce background, you know a little bit about time value of money. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And changing values of money through the time.
Thank you, Faisal. Yes. Is there anyone who wants to share? What do you think about time value of money?
Well, ma'am, a sum of money is worth more than the same sum that will be in the future. Means the money that value it currently holds at this moment that can change to a much higher position in the near future.
Thank you, Datta. Thank you, Shayan. Um, So can anyone give me a very easy example so that we understand better what is time value of money? Maybe you can make an example by yourself and you can share that with us.
Stock price.
Okay. Stock price is little bit dear. I'm just asking for a very basic example. Maybe we can relate with our day-to-day life, something like that. Can you give us those kind of examples, Shayan?
Like,
And bank
ma'am,
interest.
like ma'am, if 5 years ago we buy a chocolate for 5 taka,
Mm-hmm.
and nowadays we can't buy that same chocolate for 5 taka. We have to give 10 taka for that,
Mm-hmm.
and that happened because of change of money value
Thank you,
over
Faisal.
the time.
That is so easy to understand. I believe your other friends also understand. So basically, Faisal was saying that 5 years ago we could buy a chocolate with 5 taka, but now we cannot do that anymore, right, Faisal?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we need to pay 10 taka for the same chocolate. So here, what happened actually? Chocolate is the same, but now we need to pay 5 more taka to get that one. The values change. The value of money change. That's why we need to pay more. Is it? Did I understand? Do I understand correctly, Faisal?
Sorry, ma'am.
Do you understand correctly whatever you are trying to say?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So everyone, do you understand? This is very easy example, and thank you so much, Faisal, that you made that. Uh, do you understand what is the concept of time value? For just for a moment, forget about share market, forget about interest, all of that. First, the thing is try to understand with a very basic example. Try to make some example by your own so that you never forget the concept. Okay. So this is one example. Can anyone share another this kind of simple example? Nasib Mahmood Khan, are you there? Nasib, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the concept time value of money?
মোটামুটি
You're from commerce background or science or humanities?
science background, ma'am.
So you actually don't have any previous knowledge or data regarding this business, right?
No, ma'am. Yeah, right, ma'am.
Okay, Nasif, in that case, you need to, you need to be more focused here to understand all of this because who came from a commerce background, they have a preliminary, understanding regarding this concept. But I know still this is uh, difficult for them who came from Bangla, who did their secondary or higher secondary in Bangla medium. It will be difficult for them as well because those all are English term now. But it's gonna be difficult for you as well, Nasif, if you don't work a little bit more harder. Okay, so
Yes,
please
ma'am.
pay attention. If you don't understand anything, just let me know.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you. Sartaj Alam, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So Faisal was saying an example. Have you heard that?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand agency problem and agency cost?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who are the
Ma'am, can
principal of?
I tell something?
Yes, Saiful, tell me.
Ma'am, like most of the faculties in our university, they use Bangla sometimes to understand study. But most of the students of our class are from Bangla medium, so it's very difficult to us that understand all those things. So, ma'am, it's possible to use sometimes Bangla. That's where
Saiful, you're one of the student who have difficulties understanding English here.
no, ma'am. Like
Then, my dear,
there are,
those
ma'am,
who
there are.
have those who have where those who are facing problem, they have to let me know by their self. If they don't want to speak in English to say their problem, they can speak in Bangla and share their problem with me. But they have to talk with me first. Is it clear, Saiful?
Yes, ma'am.
No problem. Thank you. So may I know who are the students who are facing difficulties understanding this concept and all of that? Why I am asking to share the problem by yourself so that I'll have a better understanding what is the situation going on here in my class. How many of you actually don't understand properly? Based on that, I will try to make it as simplest as possible. Okay. Um, Normally, I don't prefer Bangla in my class, and I think I said that in the very initial class. Why is that? Believe me, there is no harm, or actually, it's not that the problem I will not face if I continue Bangla because I my whole life I also my background was Bangla, my secondary and higher secondary. Not my whole life, of course. After that, I continued with English. But the problem that the suffer that in the person who actually suffer for that, you are the one. After finishing your bachelor, your masters, you need to be appear in a viva. You need to communicate with other people. Might be or maybe they will prefer English. Then what you will do then? Or suppose I assume that after finishing your MBA and all of that, you properly know how to communicate with English as well. But now, if I explain everything using Bangla, when someone asks you, could you please explain what is time value of money? The first thing that come in your mind that you will speak immediately using Bangla because you understand the concept in Bangla at first. That will not actually be good for your profile. So that's why actually I want to maintain English, but Having said that, if you are facing issues regarding English or anything, you have to let me know so that I can use some synonym as well. Until you understand, I will keep explaining. So, how's that? And Saiful, I really appreciate that you told me the situation that is going on here. But could you please ask your friend, those who have actually problem understanding, could you please ask them that they talked with me directly? Could you please do that, dear?
Yes, ma'am. I told everyone to contact with you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Saiful. And like I said, I really appreciate that you talked uh, with me, and so that I can actually I know that what's the situation going on here. Okay, so what actually we're discussing the time value of money, and Faisal shared a very easy and good example with us so that we all can understand the same example. Like, for example, you could buy a pen with maybe with 2 taka. Uh, I mean, 5 years before you could buy a pen 2 taka, but nowadays you cannot do that anymore because the value of the money changed. Okay, so this is the time value of money, and when we are discussing time value of money concept, we always need to consider the interest as well here. Means, for example, just for example, you imagine a world where if you invest somewhere, means if you invest in a bank, if you put your money in a bank, they will give you a 10% interest rate. You don't need to bear any risk. They will give you 10% interest. For suppose if you invest 100 taka there today, they will give you maybe you invest there and the period is yearly. Okay, so after 1 year they will give you 104 taka. Sorry, 10% interest rate. So after 1 year they will give you 110, I mean 110 taka. Okay, for investing there. So for example, just imagine that world for a second, that if you invest somewhere, you will get a 10% interest rate without taking any risk. Okay, so this is, for example, this is your world. Now, what will happen if, for example, if you say to your friend, okay, your friends are, for example, your friend asking you for money. You say that, or let's not say your friend, some of your business partner, for example, because friend is quite personal relation, so we don't talk interest related thing with our friend, right? So, for example, your business partner asking 100 taka, just for say, or $100 from you, and he said that okay, if you give me that 100 taka, I will give you back this money after 1 year. I will give you 105 taka or dollar. Then what the thing you need to think first, like I give you the previous example, that or the imaginary world that I wanted you to make. If you put your money somewhere, you will get 110 taka after 1 year, because they're offering you 10% interest rate. But your friend actually want to give you $105 or taka to you. That means he is offering 5% interest rate. That is also you need to consider when we are talking about time value of money. Always, uh, always you need to consider that. That means the basic example is what? A dollar in hand today is worth more than a dollar promised at some time in the future. If we're talking about future, means today whatever taka you have in your hand, uh, it actually worth more than the taka you will get after 1 year, because Today, for the same example that Faisal was saying, today you can buy a chocolate with 10 taka. 5 years before, you could buy a chocolate with 5 taka. Maybe after 5 years, you need to spend 15 taka for the same chocolate. So you can see the value of the money is changing over time. So today, the value that you have might be not the same as after 5 years. So we can see the value is changing. So a taka in your hand today is worth more than a taka in some future time. That is time value of money. Okay. So when there are some factors that we need to consider when we're talking about time value of money, that you always need to consider that how much or um, you could earn interest while waiting. Means what for okay, let's not go there today, because I think it's a there already there are some topics that I covered, and let me give you just the brief initial for time value of money, and that is the example that I shared and Faisal shared with you. So until now, do you understand? Then I will not go to future value, present value. Then I need to show you the mathematics as well. We will cover all of that in next Wednesday class. Next Monday, we don't have any class. So next Wednesday class, we will cover all of that. So is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So let me do your attendance then.
Ma'am,
Yes,
uh,
Faisal.
ma'am, actually, we have a request, ma'am. Ma'am,
Mhm.
if you can at least provide us the slides, it will be helpful us. Like if we can at least track
Yes,
our
ma'am.
as
It
we are
will
not
really
Yes,
help.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
not
ma'am.
able to track
It
our
will be
slides.
helpful for us.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
okay,
Yes,
everyone.
ma'am. At least the
I'll
slide.
Okay, Saiful, I'll think about it. If you need the slide, and of course, when I will cover mathematic question, I think that I will provide you slide. But now you're asking for the theoretical part as well. Let me think about that. If that will be helpful for you, maybe I will. But actually, initially I told you I don't want to prefer this, because I know that if you get the slide, you will not study from book.
Ma'am, fact is, ma'am, from the first class when we will go for our mid one, that time, ma'am, we don't have any class recording or anything, and when we will just open the book slide, PDF, and we will don't remember that what we actually covered in the first class or second class. We will partially remember something, so it will be helpful us for track those things that what we cover in our first class, second class, at least
Actually,
to.
for that, Faisal, I already shared the class content with everyone in Google Classroom, so that you don't forget what I covered so far. Have you checked there?
Yes, ma'am, but at least slide will at least we used to it, like in
Okay.
every course we all
And
go
ma'am,
through the slides that.
Yes, Tasfiya.
ম্যাম স্লাইড অ্যাকচুয়ালি মানে স্লাইডে তো হচ্ছে কিছু কিছু জিনিস ছোট করে থাকে, বাট অ্যাপার্ট ফ্রম দ্যাট বইয়ে অনেক কিছু থাকে। তো লাইক ওই ছোট জিনিসটাকে বেস করে যখন বইটা পড়ি তখন অনেক ইজি হয়ে যায়। বাট লাইক ক্লাস টাইমে এই বেস গুলো লিখে নেওয়াটা
So,
অনেক টাইম হয়ে যায়।
so basically, Tasfiya, you're promising me that you will follow the book as well.
ইয়েস ম্যাম, আই প্রমিস,
Yes,
দ্যাট আই এম
ma'am.
ডুইং
Obviously.
দিস।
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because why I'm saying this, if you just follow the slide, there is a 95% chances that you will get a very low grade, in your exam or in this course, because I will make question inside your book. Because normally what happened, I told you, for quizzes I will give you objective question, multiple choices, MCQ, fill in the blanks or true false, that you cannot answer if you don't go through the book. Only if you just follow my slide, you cannot give me the answer. And when you cannot do well in your exam, of course, you'll get a low, you'll have a bad result as well. That's why I insist on reading book. So now, Tasfia and everyone else, you promise me that you will follow the book as well. Let me think about it. If that will be helpful for you, I will share.